Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Come join us at our newest clinic location at Good Faith Wellness Center. We provide compassionate health care for your entire family, from virtual visits to office appointments. We're committed to providing the best care. We accept all insurances, and we provide monthly wellness plans. Let's start your family journey to a healthier, happier life. Schedule your appointment today, and remember, true wealth begins with good health. All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Telehealth Tuesday. I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt, your host for tonight's episode, and this is your go-to podcast for insights on modern healthcare and wellness solutions. Now, look, before we get started with these amazing and very special guests who I'm just now meeting, but we've heard about them all over. I'm sure whether you're from Mississippi or not, or all around the world, you've heard of this dynamic duo. But before we get into that, I want to take a moment just to let you know that Telehealth Tuesday can be viewed on multiple platforms, including our YouTube channel, which is Dr. B TV. That's the word doctor spelled out, DOCTOR, the letter B, TV on YouTube, and also Good Faith Wellness Center pages on Instagram and Facebook pages alike. Make sure to follow, like, share, tag, and most importantly, subscribe to help support this amazing program. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about the background. Let's talk about these bios. I'm going to start with Brad Kamikaze Franklin and follow up with the Queen. Brad Kamikaze Franklin has been described as a hip-hop artist, entrepreneur, digital creator, motivational speaker, writer, and activist. He has had an extensive career spanning several mediums, including music, TV, and also radio. He's formerly one half of the critically acclaimed Mississippi hip-hop duo, Crooked Letters, with the incomparable David Banner. Also, he's the president of Hourglass Media Group, a full-service branding, entertainment consulting, and artist management company. He's also the founder, executive director of the Jackson Indie Music Week, which is a 7-day music festival located right here in Jackson, Mississippi, that has been dubbed as the fastest growing music festival in the Southeast. And now let's talk about the Queen, literally the Queen. Franklin she's a spiritualist, a healer, love ambassador, officiant. Her spiritual consultations, Queen sessions, assist her clients with identifying and navigating their individual paths to their higher selves. She's the owner of Queen Franklin's Closet, which is a one-stop shop for spiritual goodies. She's the founder and principal for Hathor LLC. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, an empowerment and liberation organization. Queen serves as also the co-owner of the Kundi Collective with her husband Brad. Together, Kaz and Queen also hold an annual relationship conversation led by a panel representing all relationship backgrounds called Love and Life. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you've already heard enough, and that's not all. So I want to say, stand and cheer. Here we are. Right. How we feeling? Oh, I think you're still in me. Let's do the unmute. I think we were still on mute there. There we go, brother. I think, did you? Okay, yeah. We had muted you during the commercial break. I think we got you there. Yep, there we go.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. Now? Yeah, how you feeling?
Good. We're good.
Awesome, man. Thank you all for joining us. So yeah, tell us what's going on. Tell us some more about, is there anything I missed in your bio, anything that you guys want us to know, want the audience to know?
Nah, you pretty much covered everything, man. You covered the whole gamut. So we are ready to roll.
Awesome. Well, tell us all about, one of the interesting things I was when I read through your bios before and, did some Googling, some short research, I'd always heard about, your group, and then with David Banner, of course, and I'm from Florida. And so, man, I found that really interesting. I put that together. I said, oh, man, that's right. That was you. So you all, I'm sure that the audience would love to know. I'll go for that one first, and then we'll get, back to the other stuff. Tell us about the hip hop career and what that was like being in the group and being founders of this amazing group with David Banner.
I mean, it was a monumental part of my life. I think it was a building block for where I'm at now in life and what I'm doing now in life. And it was a great experience. I think for me as a young hip hop artist, being able to travel the world doing music and being able to meet a lot of new people and create a lot of amazing relationships that I still have to this day, trips to different places all over the world that I'm able to tell my kids about. And to be able to take them to one day. Haven't gone to Ghana, haven't gone to the Czech Republic, haven't had the opportunity to do that as an artist, and be able to tell your kids about it, and then be able to kind of show them those places that you went, and how traveling the world affected your life and affected your worldview. I think it was a very pivotal part, like I said, it plays a big part in the person and the man that I have become now. Those were some fun times
Yeah.
when they were here, and like I said, I'm proud of what happened in those times, and we're just moving forward, man. Trying to do the next phase of life, as they call it.
Awesome. Now here's your lovely wife, the other half, the better half, or not even the half, because
Absolutely.
Queen, it's good to see you, my sister. Please tell us. I'd like to know where your name comes from, what it means, because I know there's definitely a deeper meaning behind that, and how you pronounce your first name.
Thank you for asking that. I applaud you for asking that question. Fumi is a Yoruba name. It's
Hmm.
a shortened version of the name Fumilayo, and it's an African tribe in West Africa. My middle name is Falion. The N is silent in Fumi, and my middle name is Falion. And the name in Yoruba means God, Fumi means God's joy, and Falion means to walk with dignity. So my dad named me, gave me the tag, and I feel like he proclaimed my life's journey and my life's purpose with that name, because I feel like it is God's joy and my assignment to help people to walk with dignity. Which
Wow.
also means that I had to go through a whole lot of stuff to get to the point where I could recognize what dignity is, to
Mm.
be able to guide people to walking in their own dignity.
That is interesting. I like. I'm going to segue into that, and let's pivot on that. Like, y'all tell us about dignity. What does that mean to you all? For being so influential, and even when I would see you guys on Instagram and different things, and talk with some people that knew you guys, and Brad, like we just talked about a mutual friend of ours. So anyway, tell me what that means to you all, to not only to your brand but person, like dignity, when it comes to our people.
I think for me, dignity, integrity, those are things that kind of go hand in hand. And we as a couple have always tried to walk in dignity and walk in integrity. And I think most of the people that have worked with us or that know us or that have been around us, whether it be in an event or whether it be on a personal level, can say that the Franklins are dignified and that, we are going to act with integrity at all
Mm.
times. We're
Mm.
going to do what our integrity calls us to do, whether that's the popular thing, whether that's the cool thing. Uh, that's something that we absolutely positively will not compromise on, is our integrity and our dignity, walking with our heads up, not bowed, walking with our heads up and our chest out at all times, not
Mm.
in, some cocky sense, but in a proud sense because of our blackness, and a proud sense, because we are blessed to be living and breathing and being able to operate in our passions. And I think that's important.
For me, dignity is quite large. All of the things Mr. Franklin said, but in addition to that, it also requires some level of self awareness, as well as ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are aware of who you are, and it's not easy, like we are programmed to believe that we exist in certain ways, then you have to unlearn all of that and figure out who you really are, remember who you really are, And once you get that, you can walk in the dignity that's passed down in our DNA. It's in our blood, in our bloodline. So once you own that, you can walk in power, you can walk in history, you can walk in legacy, you can walk in culture, you know. So it's a little bit bigger than just holding your head up high.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about taking ownership of the good, the bad, the ugly, turning pain to power, and walking in a way that is a light for others.
Mm. I love that. We got our friend James Ridgely there. He said, man, the Franklins are good people all around the board.
Ridgely.
Hey, Ridgely's good people all around the board too. I saw that you had him on the show as well.
Yeah.
He is probably one of the most genuine people that you're going to meet in this city. I don't think there's anybody that could ever have anything bad to say
Mm-hmm.
about James. And y'all make sure y'all go support Green Grass Acres. Go support his spot. We just had an event over there. He was gracious enough to let us have an event over in his space.
Awesome.
We're gonna do all that we can do to help, draw people to that beautiful space that he has over there, that black-owned business and that black-owned space. So, shouts out to Ridgely.
Yeah, big shout out, Green Grass Acres. Like you said, we just had him on, and I had some questions about medical cannabis and marijuana and everything, and he said, "Man, I got to give a quick disclaimer. Now, we no longer, we don't have literal like marijuana on the premises are not growing." And I said, "Oh man," I said, "I wasn't asking for myself, asking for a friend."
You had a few
Not
people that you knew that was inquiring.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, man. So I would love to. I got as always we have prepared questions, but sometimes I kind of go off the cuff with it because I'm getting a different vibe, and I really I find that you guys as a couple and brand, you guys, did anybody ever say the energy with y'all is kind of like Tamala Mann or something, and Mr. Brown or something, like it's
Never
like a
heard that
We haven't
before.
heard that one, but I get
yeah.
where they're going with it.
Yeah.
I would say that we are, for me, we are the definition of equally yoked. So the energy between us is always going to be. It's always fun. First of all, it's always going to be fun. It's going to always be lighthearted. And when you're with the person that you're supposed to be with, it's always easy. You know. You know what I'm saying.
It always flows. It's always natural. It always feels good. It ain't always easy though. We're two humans. We're both alpha type of personalities. I mean, we clash, but we decided that
Right.
when we clash, we're gonna clash respectfully. So clashing is okay. We're not afraid to clash. We take ownership of the clashing and move on.
Yeah, that happens.
What is so when you guys say equally yoked, because a lot of people, we think about it in terms of, financially or is it just religion, but how did you all know? I'm sure you get these kind of questions all the time, but first, it's a two-part. First part, how long have you been married? And second, my brother, when was it that you knew? How did you know?
Well, I'll answer the first part.
All right.
Who knows where that one is going to go, the second part. We've been married for 16 years. And we've been together for a little over 20 with a break of about 3 years in between there.
Okay.
But yeah, married for 16.
Yeah, the first time that I actually saw her and had an actual opportunity to speak to her, I asked her to marry me. The very first time.
The first time.
That was the first time that I had the opportunity to interact with her. That wasn't the first time that I saw her.
Okay.
The first time that I saw her, she was very good friends with our DJ, the Crooked Letters DJ Fingerprint.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at DJ Fingerprint's house. We were working on some music, and she had come through to visit him. And the first time I saw her, I asked Fingerprint about her, and of course he was like, no. So he was instantly like, no, because he had been on the road with me and Banner, so he already knew what that possibly could have been. But at any rate, the first time that I saw her, I was smitten. So the very next time that I actually saw her in person and had the opportunity to actually say something to her. I wanted to make the most of that moment, and I wanted to be memorable in that moment because I wanted this woman. So when I first laid eyes on her, the first thing I said to her was, "Will you marry me?" So I knew at that moment that this was the person that God had created for me in that moment. And I was working my way towards sealing the deal from that point going forward.
That is amazing. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let's pause for the cause on that amazing note. Just real quick, I want you guys to know that this is Telehealth Tuesday. We're here each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for your listening pleasure, edification. We are here, Kaz and Queen Franklin. This is live, and so we want you all to know that it's not just about us giving a monologue or just me and communicating with them. We want to hear from you. So just like we see James Ridgely is here in support, we appreciate you. We love to hear from all of you, and so we're also live on all platforms and Instagram. Make sure that you submit your questions. Type them right here. There's no question too big or small, no question that's out of bounds. And we'd love to hear from you. We're covering all topics. As always, we're going to tie them into medicine, but we're starting just with a little differently and a little bit some different topics, and we're going to bring it back home to medicine. So this is the place to ask your questions now. All right. All right. So, all right, David Acker. Hello. We got another new viewer on Instagram. Thank you for joining. All right. So, man, I find that interesting because we've had this, and a lot of people debate that, and you did point out that, okay, it wasn't necessarily the first time you just saw her, but you said the first time you had opportunity to interact. And that was the first question. Um, what do you guys think has happened? Like, why are things so different from that now? Like in terms of, when it comes to love, between genuine love, and then also even like the respect that you show to each other, like how young people, or they refer to some of them as YNs and all that. Like where in society, how do you all keep it positive like this, keep the respect in this union, as compared to how things have just gone to hell, in the world and with our young people?
Um, well, the first thing I would say, Mike, is that we place a lot of blame on the younger generation, and I
Hmm.
think for a lot of people, it's a go-to answer or response. I think talking about what has happened in the city recently with the rules for the St. Patrick's Day parade, uh, and the changes, and people blaming that on what happened last year and saying the YNs did this, and that, and the other. We use them as a reason and as an answer and as a scapegoat a lot of times. But what you have to understand is that this younger generation that exists, they had to have been birthed and raised by somebody. And I come from the generation that I think a lot of us have to just come to grips with the fact that there was something missing. There was a schism that existed. Something did not transfer and make its way through the generations as it was supposed to. And the generation that exists now, we've got to take responsibility for it. The
Mm.
village has to take responsibility for it because it's up to us, and it's supposed to be up to us to be able to guide them. So for us, raising a teenager, we've already got 3 grown kids already that are in their latter 20s and their 30s.
Mm.
But for us, raising a teenager, raising a 15-year-old, the most important thing for us is to be active, also to be aware, and also to evolve. Uh, we have to be active in what's happening with our teenager. We have to be aware of what's happening with young people, asking questions, seeing what's happening, paying attention on social media, and then we have to learn how to evolve as people, as a father, as a mother. We have to learn how to evolve so that we can communicate effectively, so that we can, administer whatever parenting that we need to correctly based upon the world that our 15-year-old exists in now, not the world that we grew up in or that our
Mhm.
parents grew up in. We have to learn that we've got a parent based upon the world that exists right now. And we do that internally inside of our household. And I think that's what keeps us very solid, because the communication is there and the willingness to learn and know that we don't know everything, because there's not a handbook for living and there's not a handbook for parenting. There's not really a handbook for marriage. So everybody is not a one size fits all type of thing. So you have to figure out what works. And when you figure out what works, that's what makes everything run smoothly. But you have to do that on a household to household basis.
Gotcha. I was trying to go back here, see if we, okay, stand up. So one of the things, so tying it kind of back into medicine, because I was looking when you, I know Queen, that on your bio talked about, because both of you all do motivational speaking, but Queen, I know you, there was a spiritualist side and some additional things that I read, and I wanted to know, even like tying it to depression, right? So when you are talking to people and counseling folks and discussing things spiritually, like how do you offer anything that can help from that standpoint with people's everyday problems, such as depression, and how they feel about themselves and how they view the world? Like, do you delve into that with your area of expertise in that?
Sure. So the one thing that is different in my sessions than I think what happens in, generally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
in licensed therapist work. I am a spiritualist. I do spiritual advising. So when they come to me, my job is to guide them. So whatever the issue is, I have to help them maneuver the path to healing, whether it's healing trauma or depression or anxiety, whatever that is. I facilitate guided meditation. I do energy work to heal chakra lines and things of that nature. Foot baths to help to, all kind of self-care, spiritual self-care
Mm-hmm.
work. We are right now preparing for a healing retreat that's going to be on December 5th through the 7th. It's a 3-day event with 5 sessions. And each one of those sessions will help them to identify something about how they are behaving in this world and to help them learn techniques to get through the hard times. For instance, breath work, yoga, meditation again, identifying their inner goddess. What is the thing in you that you hide all the time from people because you're not comfortable being this way? The world doesn't seem to want to see you this way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here in this retreat, you get to be that. You get to just put attention on yourself. Especially Black women, we don't often have the privilege
Mm-hmm.
to be able to stop the world and just concentrate on us, to breathe and to just let go of everything. So we've been building this community now. This is our 3rd annual, and it has been really highly anticipated and highly received because people don't really get the opportunity to just be them. You got to be somebody's mama, you got to be somebody's best friend, you got to be somebody's daughter, you got to be somebody's wife, you got to be like, there's always something that we have to do. Well, in this room, you get to just self discover, become self aware. What do you like? What do you not like? What are your triggers? How do you act when you're triggered? What do you usually do when you're triggered? Do you get depressed? Do you isolate? Do you hide from the world? Well, is that helpful to you? Are you restoring when you isolate, or are you hiding from the world? Which means when you get through, your stuff's still gonna be there. You know, so yes, I'm very intentional about putting in the work to help people heal mind, body, and soul. We even do somatic exercises because we store that trauma. As you probably know, we store that trauma all over our bodies. If Black women have trauma that we've stored in our shoulders, neck area, and hips from pain and hurt that we've been carrying for years. We get so used to the pain that we lean in and we walk a little bit different and we just go on and act like it's not there. But yeah, there's a physical component, there's a mental component, and absolutely a spiritual component to it.
And we're getting a question of my good friend Jamie Blair that she's got a very I appreciate the comment, Jerry. Jamie, it's a full. I tried to display it, but I think it might take up a little much. But you guys can probably see it on there. We put it up just for a second. It's basically a comment about. She was stating that her husband and he's a great, great person and wonderful husband. They have a beautiful family together, and they're in Maryland. And she was just saying that they've been happily married for 12 years. And she said that I feel like we need to read more, think more, reflect more, stepping away from social media and start encouraging positive behavior. She made a comment about spiritualism. I'm not sure if you were referring to the same as what Queen was talking about there. So
I think she was probably talking about Brad's response to the question about the difference in the YNs and us. And I was going to touch on that too. I think that it is warranted to make some adjustments to the parenting styles today because it is a different world. But also, social media is interfering with it being the relationship between parents and children is just kind of infused in it. We have a 15-year-old. She's on social media. I don't think she has like pages. I don't know. She might, but they have access to stuff that we didn't have.
We didn't have any of that.
We didn't have any of that. So we had to go outside and play and talk and communicate and learn how to deal with people. We're building a nation of introverts. People are learning how to self-soothe themselves, self-entertain themselves. There's not a lot of dialogue, not a lot of community with the kids. And I think that it's important that we carry some of the things that we grew up doing into our parenting style. Do we need to make adjustments because they are not the same kids as us? Sure. But some of the values that we were taught are necessary and need to be carried on with the kids that we have today. If we lose that, I don't even know what the world's going to look like in 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I've had these discussions with folks, just kind of offline, and there's people that don't even. Matter of fact, recently we were talking about, someone who doesn't have children. They were saying, I'm almost scared to actually bring a child into this world, because just like what you're saying, I have two girls that are 10 and 8 years old, and I said, man, God. I mean, anybody kind of born really along in their timeline, and probably even in your daughter's timeline, it's a totally different. And then as the years go on, and then my kids' generation, I mean, it's such a concern. But Brad, looked like I was going to ask you something and delving into music a little bit. Something else. But go ahead. It seemed like you got something on your mind.
No, I was just saying that these kids are born, being able to learn and navigate this technology from a very early age. We're putting iPads, we're putting tablets in their hands when they're, just learning cognitive skills, what I'm saying, 2, 3 years old, and they're growing up with it. And that's something that we've had to learn with this teenager that we have now. You have to be very mindful. You have to be very alert. And you have to use some of those old school tactics. You have to use some of the things that, were taught to us by our parents to be able to stay on top of and in front of and ahead of what's happening as the technology curve is happening right now with our kids. So I think that's very important. It's here. I tell people all the time that social media is probably the greatest thing and the worst thing that's ever happened to civilization. The good that it does, the usefulness of it, the convenience that it has brought, the way that it's brought the world closer. I think it's incredible. But also at the same time, with it being social media, that means that people that really should not have access to it have access to it. So there's a huge upside and there's a huge downside to it. And it's just a matter of every day trying to navigate those two things.
I got you. Well, I wanted to talk about, again, connecting it with medicine. What are you guys? What are your views or basically your path in life and your experiences, how does that affect your views on wellness? Overall, I know we talked a little bit about Queen mentions, spiritualism and some other things, and I think
Mm-hmm.
Jamie was talking about maybe the spiritualism. She had some concerns on that side, saying that with Christianity and saying that, our best guidance is in the Bible. So which is, I definitely agree with. But the other thing is on the other side of wellness, just like with what I do in family medicine, like how do you all approach that in terms of your wellness overall and with your actual like either working out or do you all like have a primary care doc? Like how does your influences, how has that changed the way you view wellness?
I mean, well, health and wellness is important to us physically, and mentally. And we make sure that we try to stay on top of that as much as possible. The first thing is that I am cognizant that I am a black man.
Mm-hmm.
And as a black man, I understand that historically and genetically in my family, there are going to be health issues that I'm going to need to be able to look at and keep up with if I want to live a long and prosperous life. Having a history of heart disease in my family, having a history of high blood pressure in my family, having a history of diabetes in my family, I have to be very cognizant of that as a black man. And as black men, we have to be. As black
We do.
men, we have to be on top of having a primary care doctor. Shouts out to Dr. Justin Turner.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have somebody that you can go to regularly to be able to keep up with, what's going on with you physically, but also being able to have a partner with you who is, well versed in taking care of your spiritual self as well. Those two things have to come into play. Uh, for me, it is learning how to balance and use the strengths and everything that you have available to you to keep your physical and your mental well-being together. I have all the respect in the world for medical doctors. Uh, the time and effort that it puts in for you to be able to practice medicine, that needs to be respected. I hate this anti-intellectual wave that we have experienced here, and it kind of started during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
where you had these idiots who
Yeah.
have watched YouTube videos and they were trying to debate medical doctors and people like yourself who have gone to school for years to study these things, people whose lives are dedicated to studying these things, and somebody who watched a YouTube video or watched a TikTok video having the nerve to debate you and go back and forth with you on
That's
what's
crazy, man.
happening
Yeah.
medically. The conspiracy theorists and the anti-vaxxers and all of these ridiculous people, man, even with the history that black people have with medicine in this country. So let's just be real and let's tell the truth and shame the devil. Black
Mm-hmm.
people's history with medicine in this country has not always been the greatest.
No, absolutely.
Even when you're talking about the Tuskegee experiment, you're
Tuskegee, yeah.
talking about, black men who were used as guinea pigs a lot of times. So the distrust that black people have for medicine and medical doctors and for the field is warranted. But
Mm-hmm.
we have some very great, some very bright, some amazing people in the fields of medicine. People that have excelled, for years, from Charles Drew all the way up to right now. We have black people that have been amazing in the field of medicine, and we need to respect the craft.
Yeah.
And we need to respect it, and we definitely respect it in our household, and we make sure that we temper those two things with letting the experts be able to help us to get ourselves together physically, but also at the same time making sure we get with the experts and the people that can help us to maintain ourselves mentally and spiritually as well, because all of those things come together.
Yep, appreciate, man. Look, I appreciate you saying that. And look, especially since you feel so strongly, man, and such a support of us. How about we combine some forces here? Because I want to make. I want maybe when we get offline or so, I'm gonna get a little bit more information on your event, December 5th through the 7th. You told me, and then also Good Faith Wellness Center on December 13th. We're doing an event. And would love if you all are available on the 13th December, which is a Saturday, starting at 12 p.m. We've got three amazing young ladies. One, Kendra, who is a Pilates instructor. She was on our show a few weeks ago. She's going to be
Mhm.
doing, yeah, 2 free Pilates sessions. We may break them up into 4, like depending on if we have overflowing and people signing up. And then we have another young lady named Chef Poe, amazing chef and very talented. She's going to be doing some just a very small demonstration of how to do some meal prep. I don't know what type of protein, people have been asking me, but yeah, she's going to demonstrate right there live, and you can taste it and all that. And then we'll come back with the Pilates. And also in between, we're going to have a young lady who's going to do some fitness instruction, Z Fit Fitness. Her name is Xavion. So anyway,
Mhm.
I'd love for you all to, love for y'all to come check it out and be a
That
part of
sounds
it.
That
great.
sounds good. That sounds good.
Awesome. So let's go back to okay. By the way, I wanted to. You said Justin Turner. That's a good friend of mine, man. He's doing some big things, man. He's he's doing some great things working with UMC when he left the state,
Hmm.
chief medical officer. So big shout out to you as well. Um, you know, I would just say that one of the questions we had before was people who are seeking help, that they can think of that as a sign of weakness. We talked about, Queen, that you have been doing spiritual counseling, but how do you all, when you all encounter people, especially young people, who obviously need help, mental help or even just physical help, like you said, with African Americans, and because of all the history, not wanting to go to the doctor, how do you all approach that to kind of to encourage people uh, to seek help, and is there a safe way to approach that?
I just try to, even on Facebook, on my post that I make, I just try to encourage Black men to go to the doctor. That's a very simple, cut and dry thing that a lot of Black men just aren't doing. Sounds like something that should be easy and should be routine, but we know by statistics, we know that Black men are not going to the doctor as often as they should. It's that tired old trope for Black men. We got something or we have something that's ailing us. We don't want to know about it
The only
until we
one
get put in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I look at it from the standpoint, and my wife and I talk about this all the time. I look at it from the standpoint of you being extremely selfish
Mm-hmm.
uh, to the people who love you and the people who depend on you to be here and the
Mm-hmm.
people who are expecting you to be here. It's very selfish of you to not take the best care of yourself so that you can be here as long as possible uh, for these folks. When you put off going to the doctor, or when you just grin and bear it, as a lot of Black men do, physically and mentally and spiritually, you're doing a disservice to the people who, look to you, as a father, as a mother, as some type of figure. They're looking for you to take care of them. You're doing them a disservice by not taking care of yourself. And, she can just speak on, the mental aspect of Black men. We probably go to therapy less than we go to the actual physical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Right.
even worse in that respect when you know that you need to go and take care of your mental and your spiritual self as well. So I encourage on the physical side. She does a lot of encouraging on the mental and the spiritual side. It is not a sign of weakness for you to need help. It is not a sign of weakness if you need to go to the doctor or if you need to go see someone and talk to someone. As a matter of fact, that vulnerability is what shows that you have a level of maturity and responsibility. That vulnerability shows that you care enough to try to fix those issues and not just
Right.
continue to go along with that physical and that mental trauma.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Uh, So in terms of politics, that's what I was going to get back, because you had mentioned something before, because I know that on your bio, Brad, that it showed that you were a political activist. And I mean, I'd love to hear about your views on that and what are the things that you either have been involved in or involved in now. And because, I was talking to my mom about this when Trayvon Martin got, and I'm going to use the word assassinated, especially
Mhm.
since the gentleman who, which of course, that was certainly not right. The gentleman, even though we may oppose his views, the Caucasian gentleman that got
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and so they called that an assassination. I had never
Mm-hmm.
even heard of the guy, but
Mm-hmm.
and so I think so I just want to put that out there. Trayvon
Mm-hmm.
Martin was assassinated, but
Mm-hmm.
what but I was in Orlando back then. That's where
Mm-hmm.
I'm from, and man, I sat down at this prayer breakfast, and I was doing politics back then, working on Pam Powell's campaign. Big shout out to Pam, and she was running for District 39 state rep, and I was her political spokesman. And so we're sitting there, and you got all these dignitaries and people, man, and we're talking about doing all this marching and stuff. And I said, man. And I just want to hear what I'm setting this up as. I want to hear what your views are. I felt like, man, we're doing all this marching. The only thing that's going to happen, I mean, hell, is that most of them going to either get shot or go to jail. That's on the front line with them picket signs. They're going to get trampled over by them horses. And it's like at the end of all the doggone picketing and marching, I said, what in the hell have we accomplished? So it just really get me going, man. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be some other way that we can be more effective at getting our point across.
Um, we just here speaking on that. We just did the 1,000-man march here in
Mm,
Jackson,
yeah,
back in September,
that's right. That's right.
and people asked that question. I asked myself that question. My wife was the first person that I presented the idea to, and she was instantly in support of it. But I always run those kind of big ideas by her. Uh, there were people who were concerned about our safety. I was never concerned personally because I felt like we were doing God's work, and I felt like it was something that we needed to do. And I also got the questions about why marching is ineffective, marching is performative. I got all of those things that went along with that too. But right now, there has to be some type of action. There has to be some type of movement. There has to be some type of energy coalescing around getting the work done. And if it takes a march to get people talking, if it takes a march to build up that energy, I
Hmm.
said, why not do it? I think it was important. I think we made a statement. We've had post March action items that we have been putting into place. The
Okay.
march was only the first piece to it.
Okay.
So, a march in and of itself, by itself, separate from itself, especially now we're talking about the anniversary of the Million Man March was this year as well.
Mm.
Um, Marching by itself, no, it does nothing. Only action, only planning, only organizing can actually fix that, and that's what we as Black folk, especially here in Mississippi, need to be doing. And I think, you know, Black folk in Mississippi have a special charge that Black folk in other places don't have. This Mississippi is the birthplace of America's music, and we are the cradle of civilization for Black folk in this country. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it is more incumbent upon Black people in this state than anywhere else to be organizing and putting plans together. So, yes, to answer your question, yeah, what are we accomplishing outside of a march? Well, nothing if we don't do anything afterward.
Yeah.
It's the afterward, it's the organizing, it's the planning, it's the political action that takes place after that that's going to have to make that happen. And that's what we're going to have to do here in the state is actually to get organized, just as organized as the white folks got organized. White folks that came up with Project 2025 or whatever it is, the white folks that got in those rooms and came up with those plans and
Mhm.
executed those plans, we have to do the same thing in order for it to happen for us on our end. And we got to have people who are dedicated to doing it and not scared to be on the front lines and not scared to speak up and not scared to put themselves in a position where, they are going to be looked at and gazed upon by white folks in this country. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Queen, what are your thoughts? And were you concerned for your husband, either safety or some of these projects? What are your personal feelings on it?
Um, I was raised in a very Afrocentric activist home. My father, Howard Spencer, was he was active in the civil rights movement,
Hmm.
principal of a school called the Black and Proud School. So I am no stranger to advocacy. I'm no stranger to revolution. I'm no stranger to protest. I'm no stranger to activating the Black community. So, to answer your question, am I afraid or fearful for his safety. I mean, as a wife, I guess it crosses your mind, but the work is the work, and it's more important. So I'm gonna stand 10 toes down behind him as he would if I were doing something like that. So I pray and I call on the ancestors to come in and cover him and cover everybody that's there. And we move right along. We are protected and covered. When you're operating in righteousness, you don't give energy to what could happen in the negative. You operate in a positive mindset and you manifest what it is that you need to manifest. It's going to be what it's supposed to be anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I live at. So I do my prayers and I speak power and life over him. And then I stand in the gap for what he needs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's see on Instagram, Jamie was saying I know you guys can't see it on there because there's two different things. The alpha female mindset is big in the Black community. Our men need to lead their families again. Things have been chaotic because the women are carrying roles that they were never meant to carry alone. Let me get your.
Let me say this. Women are carrying roles as parents and as running households that they were never meant to do alone. That is correct. But, I also, dismiss this notion of, the gender role and the woman is supposed to do this and the man is supposed to do this. You
Mhm.
know, a man leading his household, if he is a leader, how he carries himself and how he accounts for himself in his marriage is going to prove him to be the leader that he is supposed to be. The actions are going to prove that above anything else. I don't want a submissive wife. That's not what I want. I want a warrior. I want a warrior queen. I want someone who is going to be in the trenches with me. I want someone who's going to be side by side with me, supporting me when I need supporting,
Mhm.
and I will support her in the same fashion that she needs to be supported. There are a lot of Black men who have created broken homes. Yes,
Mhm.
uh, I put the responsibility on the Black men who have created these broken homes and left these broken homes and left these sisters to fend for themselves and raise their kids themselves. And that is a problem that, we're going to have to work on. It's not a problem that's exclusive to the Black community. Let's say that right off the bat. It's not a
Mhm.
problem that's
Oh,
exclusive to
that's
us.
right. That's right.
Black and white men are creating broken homes. But since we're talking about the Black community, that's
Mhm.
definitely an issue that, we have to deal with. And there are a lot of sisters who are carrying the load of two because they were left to do it. And we got to address that. And that's not their fault. Uh, that is the fault of the men who come into their lives under false pretenses and create these broken homes to be able to do that. And that is weakening a lot of our homes in a lot of instances. So we need to make sure that we address it on both ends. I talk to my daughters and my sons when I have two daughters, my oldest and my youngest are girls, and I have two boys in between.
Okay.
And I have the same conversations with them on each end. And I give them the same level of responsibility that we have. And as much as people try to say, well, women, you have to do this, 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 and this, we have to make sure that we're teaching our boys on the same side. We have to make sure that we're teaching them to be gentlemen on their side as well. And you got to teach them to be better human beings all the way across the board. So just to go back to what, the commenter was saying at the end of the day, I don't think there's an issue to being alpha females. If we go back and talk about our ancestors, and we go back and talk about Harriet Tubman, and we talk about Sojourner Truth, and we talk about all those people that existed before us, the ancestors whose shoulders that we stand on. It was a lot of alpha females. Fannie Lou Hamer was an alpha female, and without their contributions, we wouldn't be here
Mhm.
right now. And I just say to the men, you need to be strong enough to be able to step up and to be able to handle it. Because if you got one on your team, there is nothing that you cannot accomplish.
I don't like the idea of saying that men are supposed to be leading the household. Now, mind you, let me say that my husband and I are in constant conversation about this because I actually would love to be a submissive wife. I would love for him to go out there and do all the work and come home to dinner in a clean house. I would love that on one hand. On the other hand, when it got to the point to where I wanted to go out there and do the work, I want to be able to do that too. So
Hmm.
I understand the concept, but at the same time, I have an issue with being told men are the designated leaders and women are to, I guess, follow them. It just doesn't feel good in my spirit to hear that, because there are men who are single fathers taking care of their children. There are women who abandon their children. There are mothers who live in the household and neglect their children every day
That's right.
while being in the household. The world is not the same or as simple as it was when daddy went out and did the job and mama kept the house together. But even in that, mama still was leading. She was leading the household. So the idea that there has to be a leader and a follower just doesn't feel good to me. I just don't like how it makes me feel. In our household, there are two leaders. I'm a leader and he's a leader.
Mm-hmm.
What we lead is whatever needs to be led. If I need to be attending to the daughter because she's a daughter, which means as a woman, I have more understanding of what she's going through, then
Hmm.
that's what I lead. If I need to be out doing the work in the streets, then I lead that. So it's whatever comes up and however it comes up at the time. Will this work for everybody? Probably not. But
Hmm.
the thing that we have come to understand is that I am not responsible for what everybody else do in their household,
That's right.
nor do I care about what you think about what works in my household.
Right.
So it's really an individual thing. If the commenter feels like that's the kind of life she wants and that's what works for her in her world, more power to you. However, it doesn't mean I'm wrong because it doesn't work for me.
Right. No, and look, I appreciate I really appreciate this because this is really interesting points because I know we talk about the roles all the time, and so I mean, James, I'm glad that you brought that up. I also see your point as well. I'll say this because I know we talked about spirituality. I think another big thing depends on if the person biblically or is a actual Christian or not, because the Bible has a verse, and I had just done some quick research. It was Ephesians, I think 5:23 talks about husband being head of household, like Christ is to the church. That made an analogy to that, but also saying that it was important to note that this does not mean superiority, right? It doesn't mean that man is superior to women. It was talking about like sacrificial leadership, or in the like I say in the biblical days, if there was something going to happen, who was going to be sacrificed, it would be the man who is charged to cover the household. So I guess I just kind of wanted to put that in there. Like I said, I don't know where you all are, in terms of that. And I know a lot of times we kind of dance around certain things, politics and religion. I don't ever mind it. Like, hey, I got a guy just last night. He's a huge Trump supporter. I don't agree with a lot of things Trump. There's a couple that I do, but I feel like we can all respect each other. Like how y'all were saying, and Brad, you were saying in the beginning of this, it depends on each individual household. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of bring that out because it really depends on when you talk about head of household. I think a lot of people in this day and age think is a man superior to a woman, and that's not what the Bible says.
No, that's not the case. Ultimately, you want it to work. Ultimately, you want your household to work so that your household stays together. So
Yes,
ultimately, at the end of the day, everybody has to do what works best for them.
that's right.
And if it works for you and your household, and it's keeping you and your family together in that house, in a nuclear family with your kids there, and you're raising them, I'm all for it
Yeah,
because I
yes,
love it when that nuclear family stays together. So whatever happens between you and your spouse that makes y'all's household work, that's what you need to do. I think the problem comes in when people look externally for validation or look externally for advice as to what they should do. And that's the kind of downside to social media. We got a lot of people looking at social media and looking at what they think an ideal household is supposed to be.
Right.
You look at a lot of these influencers that are on TikTok and on Instagram, the couples that are influencers on TikTok and Instagram, and they're living together and they're married and they're putting this content together and they got their kids, and then a couple of years later they're not even together anymore, and they're creating content separately, and they've created, you hear about all the things that come out after they broke up. Even, we were talking about Candy and Todd the other day. Candy from Escape and Todd, her husband, getting a divorce. We were talking about the years of watching them on social media and watching them do things together, and then eventually finding out that, they're getting divorced, and the relationship was not always that good. But a lot of people look at that and say, relationship goals, couple goals,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
when they see that on social media, not understanding that you don't know what's going on behind those closed doors. You don't know what's happening inside of those people's homes. So what you need to do is don't do what you see somebody on social media doing. You
Right.
do what you and your partner communicate that works best for you inside that household. Whatever that looks like to me, I'm fine with it. If it keeps you together, I think it's great.
Well said. And Jamie said, yeah, she said, she put some stuff there, but she said, I'm not telling others how to live. I just share my thoughts, and which is cool, Jamie. Like you say, we all, this is
Absolutely,
great.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it's a discussion, Jamie. Thank you so much for your comments.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I see my lovely mother's here at the tail end saying, that Lily James, that she is watching a very interesting discussion. I know there's got to be something you want to ask, Ma, because we had some of these talks. She's been down. Hey, by the way, I was asking the marijuana questions for her because of her chronic pain.
Okay.
Don't tell me.
I get it.
All right. So, hey guys, listen, we're about at the end. So if there's anybody, if you got a burning question, comment, concern, this is the time to get those in now, because we are wrapping up. I would love to give the floor to you guys to let us know, maybe one more time, to let everybody know about the conference coming up. I think you said December 5th through 7th. And then anything else you all want us to know about you, what you're doing, how we can contact you, and all that good stuff.
So the Breathe and Let Go Healing Retreat, The Goddess Within, is going to happen at the Synergy Link, December 5th through the 7th. It's 3 days, 5 sessions, each one intended to uplift, motivate, and encourage healing and restoration. We've been doing it now, as I said, for 3 years. Every year we have a different theme. It's fun, but it's really intended to just give attention to the restoration and evaluation, what this year has been like, letting go of what you no longer need and breathing life into what's to come for you, identifying what those things are. We usually keep it a pretty small, intimate group so we can all get the attention that we need and be very intentional about putting the attention where it actually needs to go, instead of everybody being in there and somebody missing something. We want everybody to be able to get what they need. It is a community-based event, so we invite people in the community, other people working in wholeness and wellness, self-care, encouragement, empowerment. We want you to be involved. We want you to partner with us. We want you to help us be able to provide the best atmosphere for the people who will attend. We're very excited about it and looking forward to it. So if you have not heard about it and you want more information about it, please send us a shout. You can email me at hathor601, HATHOR 601 at gmail.com. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram, BLGH Retreat 3 on Eventbrite. So just check it out. Any questions you have, anybody interested in partnering or sponsoring with us, it ain't too late. It's never too late. So hit us up. We would love to have you be a part of this. I don't know that we can do very much in the way of educating our community about our health, about our spiritualism, about religion, or anything else, unless we are in the best mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual place that we can be in. So, events like this one is geared towards helping us to get to that place. That's the work that needs to happen. The work that needs to happen between doctors and patients, trauma that's happened. We need to be able to heal that, discuss that. This is an atmosphere for that. And even with Queen sessions, if you have things that you need to discuss, trauma you need to identify, if you just don't understand what your place is in this world, you might could use some spiritual advisement. So hit me up if you're looking for that. So we're looking forward to the retreat.
Awesome.
And anybody who's interested in more information, please get at me.
Awesome. Well, we're going to leave it there. Good people. Thank you again, man. We really appreciate you all coming on for us. And okay, here we go. One question right at the end. You mentioned that yoga, chakras, and spiritualism are important for healing. Where does the power come from, and how do you know that the practices are working and actually helping people?
That is a very detailed type of question. I think, Jamie, if you would like to talk offline since we're at the end, because I'd like to have more information about what she's specifically needing to know. But there is energy in our bodies that govern everything that we do. So, and it's called a chakra line. That line just kind of governs everything about who we are, from how we think, how we feel, how we are, who we are. And these are all spiritual ideals and spiritual practices. I can tell that you're a religious person. I am a spiritual person. I would love to have more communication with you so that I can explain to you in greater detail about the chakra line and about how those things work. And the power comes from your higher power, what it is that you believe in. Everybody doesn't believe in the same higher being. So I'm not here to make a judgment or to declare anything for anybody. I'm just supporting their highest self. Whatever your higher self is, I'm trying to help people to get to their higher self. And whatever their source power is that governs their higher self is not really where I put my emphasis in. I just try to help people identify that for themselves.
That's excellent. Excellent. Mom says that what works for one situation doesn't work for another. Leaders have to ask God for guidance. Absolutely. And Jamie said, understood. Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, I really appreciate it. If y'all, I'll just do a quick closing. And if y'all wouldn't mind, we do this every week. If y'all wouldn't mind just hanging on, I'll run the credits and then we'll go offline. And so we could just wrap for like 2 minutes or so, if that's okay with y'all.
Okay.
All right. Appreciate it. So thank you again to Kaz and Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for them. Next week, as always, we've always got some amazing guests who are very interesting. This was a great conversation tonight. I really love to hear different viewpoints, and everybody's respectful. So it's great. It was educational. Next week, we're going to have a very interesting young lady that I won't say who, but she has a famous tagline. She's always saying 0 to 10, and she's saying twice on Sunday. And so if that gives y'all any kind of hint as to who this young lady is, so you don't want to miss that next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. So with that said, we'll have you join us then. Bring a friend with you. Don't just keep this to yourself. We are here devoting time and just trying to give back to the community. Nobody's getting paid and nothing like that. This is just strictly out of the goodness of folks' hearts and trying to help our community. If you have a story, a testimony, a situation you'd like to discuss, you can reach out to us, Good Faith Wellness Center, or on all of our different social media platforms. And so we'll see you next time. Make sure December 13th, their event December 5th through 7th, the spiritual conference in December 13th, we have a Good Faith Wellness Reset again. So we're going to feature Pilates. We're going to have cooking class. It was limited cooking class. We'll talk about meal prep. You're going to have a live demonstration, be able to taste something. And then also we're going to talk about a little fitness, and then I'll give a couple of healthcare tips there. So don't want to miss that. God willing, see you on a Tuesday. And remember, As we always say, true wealth begins with good health. See you next time. Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt. Come join us at our newest clinic location at Good Faith Wellness Center. We provide compassionate health care for your entire family, from virtual visits to office appointments. We're committed to providing the best care. We accept all insurances, and we provide monthly wellness plans. Let's start your family journey to a healthier, happier life. Schedule your appointment today. And remember, true wealth begins with good health.